Salut, Mika, and welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at Vergil's second Eclogue, this time lines 35 through 39. But first, last time in Vergil's Eclogue, well, there's rain in the background. Except there wasn't last time. Can't seem to get a grip on the pages. And there we have it. Here's everything that we look for as we go through the text. Let's go ahead and get started. Haec eadem ut sciret quid non faciebat amuntas. Est mihi disparibus septem compacta cicutis fistula. Damoitas dono mihi quam dedit olim, et dixit moriens, te nunc habet ista secundum, et dixit damoitas, invidit stultus amuntas. And there we have it. This very first line, at least when I was first looking at it, was very confusing. I was trying to figure out, well, what does eadem refer to, and why do we have sciret in this? Well, we have the infinitive right there with the t ending, so we know it's the third singular imperfect active subjunctive. So I was trying to figure out what was going on with that. Ut going with the subjunctive, of course, but it didn't make much sense for haec eadem to be the subject of sciret as a feminine singular, and then looking at the green and yellow didn't help, and finally pointed out to me that neuter plural as the object, this referring to all of the training that Pan had just done, cleared up the whole issue. So haec eadem can't be the feminine singular nominative. The only option for it, for this entire line to make sense, is for it to be the accusative plural neuter. And I hope you were able to follow what I just said there. I couldn't figure out what it was, then took a look at something, pointed out that this had to be the direct object, taking our previous sentence with Pan teaching people how to play the pipes and all of that has to be what this is referring to. So, ut, and this is going to be showing a purpose clause with amuntas actually, or amintas, however you want to pronounce it, as the subject of sciret. And then we get to the second half of this line, which explains a little bit what's going on here. And the thing that he does in order to know. Quid is our interrogative word from quisquid. And then non negating it faciebat, bat, therefore our third singular, another imperfect tense, which makes sense according to sequence of tenses. These things coincide with each other, active and indicative. And then amintas has the as ending, which is a Greek nominative singular masculine. And from what I could tell, looking up amuntas's name, it is from Greek, and it is spelled alpha, mu, upsilon, nu, tau, alpha sigma, or alternatively, eta sigma. Eta sigma is the more common masculine nominative singular in the Greek than alpha sigma. And it means defender, or something along those lines. Curiously, Philip the Great's father, Philip the Great of Macedon, his father's name was also Amuntas, and that the name shows up sometimes in other bucolic writings. Vergil will use either the same character or a different character with the same name in the next Eclogue, and I think in Eclogue 10. And I think there's one other writer that uses the name, but beyond that, I don't think we've got more than just the two. All right, so with him as the subject, what's going on here? Well, this is just a normal question. Quid could function as a indirect question if faciebat were also in the subjunctive. Instead, it is a direct question with this as the purpose. What was, we might even say, what would Amuntas not do? Not what was Amuntas not doing, but what things fall outside of his efforts in order to make this true, in order to learn the teachings of Pan. So there we have that. And this is, of course, Corydon setting himself up to build himself even more, to inflate his own characters, saying, whoever this guy is, another one of the shepherds out there maybe, tried to get this, but no. Corydon is the one that received the training equivalent to that of Pan. Est, seen that before, don't need to parse it. He also don't need to parse that. That's just a dative. But we want to find the verb. Disparibus, nope. Compacta could be the verb, except it would have to be a participle. So moving forward even farther. Fistula, yeah, we don't have a verb in here. So we're going to have to come back to all of these. But I'll go ahead and parse them, so that'll be easier to translate later. Disparibus, ibus right there. So it needs to modify something else of the same case. Septum doesn't decline, so it could be going with disparibus or with compacta, so we'll have to leave that alone. Kikutis, is right there. This is kikuta, kikutai, so it's a feminine. This has to be also dative or ablative plural, so then these two must be going together. Then compacta, this comes from compingo, compingere, compegi, compactum. So it's the fourth principal part of a verb. With that a, it could either be the nominative singular feminine or the ablative singular feminine, or we could have the option of the plurals in the neuter. So the question is this the subject or the object? Or is it modifying this sentence as an ablative? Well, since we already have a possible ablative with these two, it doesn't make sense for compacta to be ablative. Instead, oh gosh, I'm saying we're looking for the verb there at the beginning. We don't have to wait to come back to this. There'll probably be a note in there reprimanding me. Est has to connect a nominative with something. Compacta makes most sense as a nominative. Or I suppose we could go with the neuter plural as the nominative, because sometimes, particularly when you're drawing from Greek or working in Greek, neuter can take a singular verb, but no. Instead, what we've got is fistula with that a right there as our subject. Fistula, fistulae, it's feminine, so nominative, singular, feminine, and this as a also nominative, singular, feminine, perfect, passive. I don't think it's deponent. Oh, compingo, no, it's not deponent. And then participle. Compacta can mean a compact, it can mean an agreement, it can mean something joined together. Fistula is a reed pipe, it's a shepherd's pipe. I don't remember now if this is the same word that we had previously for a shepherd's pipe. I don't think it was. But now septum, that's the last thing that we have to figure out for this sentence. Can we have 7 of a singular object? Not in this case. Instead, septim must be going with disparibus and kikutis. So then, joining these together. And then what does this say? There is to me, this would be the dative of possession, there is to me a compacted, a joined shepherd's pipe, joined with, or by means, no, it wouldn't be by means of. Having thought over this, I suppose we could have a source, but normally source is genitive. But then again, that might be me mixing in my Greek grammar with my Latin grammar. And if we wanted source, we would normally have, from an ablative for Latin, we would normally have a preposition like ex or de, which we don't have here. Joined by means of 7 dissimilar hemlock pipes. There's the fridge to join in. It wouldn't be instrument because he's not using the pipes to join it together. Instead, it's made out of the pipes. I don't remember if there is a ablative of material from which or something like that. I'm not sure which one it is, so I'm just going to translate it the simple with. So real quick to explain this and the 7 in there. If you recall from one of our earlier videos when I talked about the size of a shepherd's pipe, they could range from 7 to 21. This is just saying that Corydon has the smallest in number of pipes, type of shepherd's pipe. And then disparibus is just telling us that they're varying in length. So we would have the curling. I can't actually get the curl on 2D, but then you have jumping down 7 individual pipes, which will give you the different notes, and then you play them across the top. So there's that explained, and then we come to demoitos, and he's going to tell us the origin of this pipe, the origin, quote mark. Demoitos, we have as there. This is going to be another Greek nominative singular masculine. This noun, this name, I was less successful in determining the origin. I think it comes from this. So delta, alpha, mu, omicron, iota, tau, alpha, sigma. But that doesn't tell me the meaning. So then we have 2 options, but the 2 options are kind of interwoven to each other. So it could be related to damia. That's supposed to be an iota. That's a very ugly iota. Damia, which is sometimes written, depending on the dialect, as damoia. So we got the omicron iota right there. The tau alpha sigma would be a change in the endings to denote, one of those 2 words, relating to damia. And this is the name of a fertility goddess. From wherever that is. I should know, but I don't know. And I don't know what her name means, except that this might come from the Greek noun demos, which just means public. But it should be noted that this is an eta here in the Attic spelling. Demos is spelled with an alpha, but only in the Doric version of the language, and in which case it is Damia, same as this goddess's name. So it's possible that they come from each other, in which case her name means something like public woman, which fits, I suppose, with what she is a goddess of, but it's not very complimentary. And even then, public women, if they would have access to abortifacients, would probably use them. As far as I understand it, in Roman culture, there was a rampant, to the point where there was actually a serious dearth of babies, which means the population drops down. It's easier for the barbarians to invade, and that's what comes when you kill your children. Moving on. So, possibly relating to the public, or relating to the goddess of fertility, who's herself relating to the public in some way. I don't really know. Anyway, so he's our subject. Dono, not a verb. Mihi, nope. And here we go. Dedit. IT right there. Third, singular. And this is not present tense. Instead, it is perfect tense. Do, dari, dedi, datum. And it is active. And it is indicative. So, demoitas is giving, or really has given. Dono, from donum, doni. This is a neuter. With O, it's either a dative or ablative. It could, as a dative, be the indirect object, except for mihi. So instead, another option for the dative would be cause. Demoitas gave to me because of gift. No. So instead, probably ablative. Ablative, again, we're getting a subnormal use, I suppose we could call it, as gift, or by gift, we could say. So it's an adverbial function. And then quam, am right there for accusative, singular, feminine, referring back to fistula as the object. Olim is just an adverb of time. Okay, so that finishes off that clause. I forgot to note, demoitos would have been a famous pipe player. So Corydon is trying to impute greater image on himself as a great flute player, supposedly knowing this guy. And Dixit, don't really need to parse that. We've seen it enough times. Said, Moriens in S right there is our nominative singular ending. It's going to be masculine. In this case, it's referring to our subject, demoitas, and this comes from morior, so it is a present participle off of a deponent verb. And then we enter our direct quote. Te, that's going to have to be accusative singular, no gender since it is a generic. Nunc adverb habet as our verb, et, third singular, present, active, and indicative. So it wants to take a direct object. Te could be the object. Ista here is another demonstrative from Ista. Gosh, my brain is going blank. Isto. No, that's Spanish. The only Spanish I remember comes back to haunt me. Esta. There we go. Gosh. Esta. No, that's still Spanish. I'd have no clue what the neuter is. There'll have been a note, again reprimanding me and explaining what this thing actually is. However, this is a more vulgar, common Latin that Corydon is speaking, that Vergil is writing here. So ista in this case is equivalent to illa, and it's going to be nominative singular feminine. This is from the green and yellow, referring again back to the fistula. Then that means the fistula is the subject of habet, which is not how we would do it in English, but the meaning of the sentence is reasonable from this. Secundum, right there. This is going to be accusative, singular, and it's going to be modifying te, and therefore masculine. It could, I suppose, function as the adverbial neuter form of secundum, as favorably, but that doesn't make much sense in here. Shepherd's pipe has you now favorably? No. Instead, what we've got going on here is Corydon, or demoitas, if we were to take Corydon seriously, is saying that Corydon is both the second owner only of this pipe, so it was his and he used it, and now Corydon is the second to possess it, still high in value, or that he is saying it now has you and preferred. It has raised Corydon up in social status of panpipe players. So I think we could take secundum either way, as it's the pipe that's taking him up. The pipe is what's creating the secundum for te. I'm going to stick the word as in brackets with owner on the other end. So if we take it as the second meaning and preferred, then this is another dig into the guts of amuntas, saying that the pipe itself, more than just demoitas, picked Corydon because Corydon was so very skilled. And amuntas, no matter what he was doing, no. That's a way of reading it anyway. And then we come to dixit demoitas. Well, we already have dixit right there, so we don't need this. So this is possibly Corydon being a little bit unsure of himself, saying, hey, he said this, he really did say this. And then we get this wonderful, wonderful last line. Envidet, this comes from envideo, it's a second conjugation, so this has to be a third singular, perfect tense, active, and indicative. And typed it into Perseus just to see what the breadth of the meaning was, so that it gets more than just envy. And Perseus has this great thing, cast the evil eye, which I really like. Stultus, US, nominative, singular, masculine, modifying amuntas. And this is just mean. Amuntas cast the evil eye, or amuntas was envious. I'm going to do both. All right. Has been. Became envied. And of course, it can mean cast the evil eye, because we got the widow to look, and in was to look against. So to like squint one's eyes is how you could possibly picture it in a connivingly evil way. Though I don't know if all cultures view the evil eye as that, but That's how I kind of picture it. Well, there we have that. Let's take a look at it in its own context. In order that these same teachings of Pan he might know, what was not Amantas doing? There is to me joined shepherd's pipe with 7 unequal hemlock reeds, which Demoitos as gift to me gave once, and said, dying, so it's even more serious there, you now this has as second owner or as preferred one. Demoitos said, Invit stupid Amuntas. That's just fun. Well, thank you very much for joining me. I hope taking a look at this has been helpful for you, and I hope that you have a very good day. Farewell. Wale. There we go. Use the correct word.